A lot of folks on the left say that the rich don't pay their fair share.
It's time for corporate America and the wealthiest 1% of Americans to just begin to pay their fair share.
Pay a fair share.
You're going to start paying your fair share of taxes.
But this requires us to answer a few questions. First, what does the rich even mean? When we ask what it means to be rich, it's easy to roll your eyes. You know, it's the dude with the mansion, the guy with the yacht. The truth is that the word rich is somewhat vague. A man who owned 1 million shares of Pets.com in February 2000 was rich. At that time, Pets.com stock was worth over $10 a share.
This is the happiest day of my life!
By January 2001, he would have been broke. There's a difference between realized wealth and unrealized wealth. Perhaps we mean the man who owns huge chunks of land.
Most of America's richest people made their fortune in real estate. Isn't it about time for you to learn how?
But here we run into the same problem. The value of land rises and falls. By the same token, a poor landowner in Texas before the discovery of oil on his property was poor. Next thing you know, Jed Clampett is living in Beverly Hills.
Wall Street, corporations, and the super rich.
A billionaire class.
You know, folks with helipads.
This country has worked for the rich for a long time and left everyone else in the dirt.
It's worth noting when we talk about the rich that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden talk about.
Stick around. I'm showing you guys all of this for a reason because what is going on right now is just absolutely ridiculous. So stick around. We got a few more minutes of this, and then we'll get into the absolute funniest thing you guys may ever see.
This as though it was a Marxist class, as though it's just a group of people and they were always the same. The truth is that throughout people's lives, they move in and out of income quintiles.
A quintile is a 1/5 or 20% portion of the whole. Quintiles divide the population, ordered by income from lowest to highest, into 5 groups, each with an equal number of households.
The vast majority of Americans will spend their days in many different income quintiles over the course of their life. People tend to increase their income quintiles over the course of time. So put aside race or sex or any of the other complicating factors people like to talk about with regard to income. If you take age is probably the #1 confound in terms of income quintile. Younger people earn less. As you move into middle age, you earn more.
In no quintile of the income distribution do the people tend to stay there. People are constantly moving among these brackets.
So what does the rich mean? Typically, we actually mean people who earn a lot of income.
Most of what I've heard you talking about has been about the distribution of income rather than about the distribution of wealth.
The Elizabeth Warrens of the world want to tax wealth.
You built a factory and it turned into something terrific or a great idea. God bless. Keep a big hunk of it. You take a hunk of that and pay forward for the next kid who comes along.
But as we've seen, wealth on paper is not always wealth in reality. What's more, taxing wealth ends with destroying wealth, because people have to then liquidate their unrealized gains in order to pay taxes. The left says that they're focusing on income tax. They don't even focus on that, really. They just sort of say that a person is rich, therefore they don't pay their fair share. The idea is that if they weren't stealing tax money, they wouldn't be rich.
Do you think the people at the top are paying their fair share?
No, I do not. It's the working man that's paying taxes.
Poor man.
That's right, poor man.
I mean, they've got marvelous accountants that know how to fix everything up.
The company like the...
And the reason why those accountants know how to fix things up is because Democrats, like Hillary, as Trump exposed on stage, voted to have some of these loopholes. Just, it's mighty rich that is coming from these same folks that voted for this stuff. It's crazy.
Ford Motor Company didn't pay a cent in income tax last year, yet your paycheck is abused.
That's not true in any way. Let's say that you're a business owner. You are paying taxes 1,000 different ways. You're paying for the Social Security of your employees. You're paying for their unemployment insurance. You're paying taxes before the income comes down to you via corporate taxation. You're paying capital gains taxes if you ever realize any of the gains in your company in terms of selling your stock. And then once it comes to you in terms of income, you're paying income tax. When you pass it on to your kids when you die, you then have to pay an estate tax unless you come up with some legal workaround. We should not be taxing every dollar a dozen different times. When your company takes in $1, when you pay an employee, when you earn it as income, when you buy stock and the price goes up, when you sell that stock, when you pass it on to your kids. We should be taxing every dollar once and once only, which means that if you paid taxes on a $5 million income one year, you shouldn't have to keep paying taxes on those same dollars afterward.
Facts. Facts. Now, I wanted to show all of that because I wanted to talk about taxes today and, you know, paying your fair share. Because Democrats love to put on the show, as you guys saw at the beginning of that, pay your fair share, pay your fair share. But in reality, you know, these folks who, you know, that are rich or well off pay a whole lot in taxes in reality. Now, of course, there are loopholes, legal loopholes that they can jump through and yada, yada, yada. We understand that, but we're getting taxed out the wazoo. Like you just saw, you're getting taxed when you get paid. You're getting taxed when you spend the money. You're getting taxed when you make some extra money on the side, capital gains. You're getting taxed. You know what I'm saying? The state is taking your tax. The feds are taking your tax. The company you work for, before they even pay you your money, they're getting taxed on that money first. I mean, it's just tax. You know. And the crazy part about it all is we keep having to raise our debt ceiling. So, like, we're getting taxed out the wazoo, and they're just blowing money. You know, I wish I could manage my money the way that this administration manages our tax dollars. I wish I could. I could just blow money without even caring. Don't worry about it. It's going to come back. Forget about it. You know, so and I'm so tired of these Democrats putting on this show, and it's about time that they get called out. I got a video here with a guy by the name of Stephen Moore, okay? And I'm not even going to spoil it. We're just going to jump straight into it. Make sure you guys hit that like button, all right? Hit that like button. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm to get these videos out to more and more people. Comment below your thoughts and your opinions. You know, lets YouTube know you guys are engaging with the video. And let's just jump straight into this clip. I mean, you guys have to see this.
Morris Pearl. I'm a former managing director at BlackRock. We want to pay higher taxes, and everyone else wants to pay higher taxes as well.
Hi, Steve Moore here. I'm here at the Patriotic Millionaires press conference where a bunch of millionaires said they want to pay higher taxes and they're advocating for it, but they won't sign a pledge saying they're willing to pay the taxes that they...
Shout out to Stephen Moore.
Endorse. In fact, not one of these patriotic millionaires raised their hand and said, I'm willing to pay more taxes voluntarily.
Welcome to tax day, one of the most segregated, most unequal, and one of the most unjust days of the year in America.
It's about billionaires owning super yachts and Rolexes, while hardworking people are struggling to afford their rent or going to sleep hungry.
The poor and the working class are not going to bring this country down. It's the wealthy that'll bring the country down.
It's time to enact a new tax code.
Listen to what they're all saying. They're basically saying that all the rich people are bad people. Keep that in mind as this video rolls on, all right? Remember that part. Remember that.
It requires those who benefited the most from America's economic structure to recycle a significant portion of that benefit back into our society rather than allowing them to amass fortunes so large that they threaten our democracy.
Hi, thank you, by the way, for doing this. And it's incredibly patriotic what you're talking about in terms of being willing to pay more taxes. I think, Myron, you started out this press conference by saying you want to pay more taxes. And so I represent a group called the Committee to Unleash Prosperity, and we have these pledges. How many of you are millionaires here? I know you are, a number of you. We're hoping that each one of you will sign this pledge. A number of you. We're hoping.
Oh, well, what do you know? All of them. How interesting is that? All of them are millionaires. You got folks with Disney money. You got folks with BlackRock money. You got a whole lot of money standing up there talking about, oh, we need to tax the rich and make sure they pay their fair share, and people with boats and yachts and Rolexes and whatever. All right. Okay. Remember that.
That each one of you will sign this pledge which says that you will pay a 90% tax, just as you're endorsing today, because you say it's your patriotic duty to do so. And so I'm hoping that each one of you will sign this pledge that says I'm willing to pay a 90% tax, because it's your, as you said, it's your patriotic.
So let me understand.
It's
you want me to do that individually, or you want me to do it?
Miss Disney. Yeah, let's get people. I've got pens. Let's sign these. You know, that you'll, so we can solve the problem.
Policy, or do you want me to do it?
No, we want. You all said that you wanted to pay. You said you wanted to pay more taxes.
This guy realizes what's happening.
No. You said you want to pay more taxes. So don't you think it's your duty?
Can we keep this to press?
I'm sorry. Don't you think it's your patriotic duty to pay more taxes if you're saying that?
Saying that the voluntary paying of more is not going to happen.
But you all are
Yeah,
millionaires.
sorry, we
right?
got another question.
Okay, I'm just because you guys are millionaires, and you're saying you don't want to pay more. Wait, you do or you don't want to pay more taxes? What?
Yes, it's disingenuous to say.
Why?
Voluntary.
Because you guys are millionaires, and you're saying you don't want to pay more. Wait, you do or you don't want to pay more taxes? What?
Yes, it's disingenuous to say.
Why?
Voluntary change the law is going to make a structural difference.
But you all could make a huge difference. There's a little bit of hypocrisy when a bunch of millionaires get together and say raise taxes, but they're not willing to pay them themselves. Out of the 20 millionaires here, not one of them was willing to pay more taxes.
Not one. Once again, shout out to Stephen Moore for that video right there. But not one single person said, yes, I'll pay 90%. Mighty interesting. Mighty interesting. And you know, the whole problem also with this 90% is that it creates a barrier, right? So obviously now we have poor, middle class, and we have rich. Okay. Obviously there's varying degrees of all of those categories, but let's just keep it simple. Poor, middle class, rich. We'll keep it quite simple. You create a barrier between being rich and everybody else. When you have to pay 90% of what you are making, there's a huge barrier to crossing over, you know, moving up the classes to that rich. Once you're rich and you're already there, it won't matter if you got to pay 90%. As long as everybody else is paying a huge portion, you're going to stay in that 90%, you know, in that rich tax bracket. But nobody else can move up to you. I don't know. Do y'all think that's one of the things that they kind of want, you know, one of the secret motives but behind a lot of this? Let me know in the comment section. But I just find it really weird that all of these leftist folks, they always preach about everybody else doing something, but when they're asked to do it themselves, it's always no. Case in point, you guys remember there was a video that we checked out with Dinesh D'Souza, and he was talking to a college student, and that college student was talking about, if I remember correctly, he was I want to say he was speaking about the inequality on college campuses and, you know, people of color not being able to get in, you know, to some of these college campuses, yada, yada, yada. And then D'Souza said, you know what? How about this? How about you relinquish your spot here on this college campus? You leave so that a person of color can come. Can anybody guess what happened next? I'm sure y'all can. He didn't leave. And it's the same thing with these folks. Oh, tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. We need to force them to pay 90%. Okay, well, here's a you know, contract, a promissory note that says you will voluntarily pay 90%. You will start this train. You will start it. You will put this thing in motion. You will pay 90%. Oh no, I'm not going to sign that individually. How crazy is that? I'm not signing that by myself. I'm not going to donate. Well, why not? Why not? It doesn't even have to be a tax. You could just donate 90% of your income to some great causes. But of course not. They would never do that. Because it's never about what they say. Oh, man. That's why you got to pay more attention to their actions of these leftist folks than what comes out of their mouth. You know, I've learned that throughout this journey. They say a bunch of BS and don't actually mean it. So pay attention to their act. I mean, you should pay attention to people's actions versus the words regardless. But especially these Democrat politicians, boy, I tell you, man, it is ridiculous out here in these streets, man. And shout out to Stephen Moore once again for exposing their hypocrisy. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Man, sheesh Louise. Can you believe it? Y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.